See, ooh, she good. What up, everybody? Today, we're doing a video I'm actually kind of excited for. Today, we're going to be comparing the Freego X2 and my Surron LBX. As you guys may know, I have a lot more miles on one of these bikes than I do the other, but I do feel like these comparisons are kind of needed, and we're going to go on the pros and cons of both of them. We're going to get a GPS speed test on both bikes. Yeah, I'm kind of excited for this because we're going to compare the differences, the similarities, the price points, how I feel about both bikes. And yeah, this is going to be an awesome video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hype this video because, you know, we're almost there to getting monetized. Just a couple more watch hours, so make sure you at least just leave the whole video on. Just leave it on, go walk away, do something else. But this is a good video, so you should probably watch it. We're going to be doing it on our other bikes too. We'll probably do a Surron versus Tuttio and whatever else happens. We'll see. Let's get into it. Okay, everybody. So today we have the Freego X2 and the Surron LBX. First things first, I think we should start with Freego X2 comes with a, we're going to talk about battery. Yeah, we'll do that. We're going to talk about the battery first. So first things first, Freego X2 comes stock with a 60 volt, 30 amp hour battery, whereas the Surron LBX comes with a 60 volt, 40 amp hour battery. So we're definitely pulling a lot more power from the Surron. Next things next, we're going to be talking about suspension. Over here on the Freego X2 and the Surron LBX, you are both running at front and rear full suspension. The Surron LBX is going to have KKE front and rear, a little bit beefier, a little bit nicer KKE, but KKE nonetheless. Same with the Freego X2, maybe a little bit cheaper KKE suspension, but KKE nonetheless. One thing I will say, the suspension on the Freego X2 does feel a little, it feels stiffer, more robust than the LBX, but I'm pretty sure the LBX is probably the better suspension, but it feels a lot better on the Freego X2. So we'll give that point to the Freego X2. So we're at 1-1. Next thing we're going to be talking about is the difference in, so the Freego X2 is going to be running a 3000 watt hub motor in the rear, peak 6000 watts of power. Definitely not bad for a budget e-bike, because when we come over here to the Surron LBX, this is running a mid-drive system, a dual chain mid-drive, because some mid-drive systems are just one chain. Surron has technically a belt drive and a chain, but we're going to call it a two-chain system, whatever, a multi-drive system, as you will. Yeah, Surron motor peaks at 8,000 watts, which is considerably more than 6,000 watts, and it is a mid-drive, so you will get that more torque from it. But I will say the hub motor over on the Freego X2, one is way more quieter, which is a big plus in my book. You can mob around, wheelie all hours of the night, never have to worry about people harassing you, and because it does have pedals, it makes it a lot more street legal. A lot more street legal. I have never been harassed by police on this bike, and I have taken this bike and put miles on it. I don't necessarily feel like the same would be the same for the Surron LBX. Cool. Next, we're going to be talking about shoes or tires, however you want to call them. The Freego X2 is running a 19 front and rear setup. I do believe it is a 19 2x7. As you guys can see, I have those all-terrain Shinkos on there. I love those bad boys. They're freaking great. And my 2025 Surron LBX came stock with a 19 1.4 in the front, or 19 1.5, I believe, something like that. And my Freego, nope. And the rear tire, I want to say, is an 18x3 or something like that. Yeah. 18x3 or 18x2 something. Actually, nope, that tire says 3, so we'll go with that. It's an 18 in the rear, 19 in the front versus a 19 in the front. I actually don't know the width of these front tires. Might be the same size as the one on the Freego, but I'm not sure. As far as handlebars and controls, both bikes are pretty similar. You're going to have the front brake on the right, the rear brake over on the left. You're going to have a sport mode and eco mode. Speedometer. On the Surron, the speedometer is off to the side. Me personally, I like the center mounted speedometer, but you know, that's just how it comes. The Surron does have a key for on off, and yeah, pretty up front. Let's go over to the Freego. Coming over to the Freego, we have still a dual mode We have a sport mode, eco mode, and a park button. One thing we don't get on the Surron. Both bikes do have kickstand sensors. Just like the Surron, you get a horn button. Surron does not come stock with a headlight button, which is kind of lame for almost $5,000 bike. You have this nice, beautiful center-mounted display, and I do have upgraded handlebars and stem lock. All this stuff will be on the Surron here pretty soon, so make sure to like, subscribe, do all those things, and hype this video. Surron comes stock with Surron branded brakes, DOT4 brakes, which is always really freaking awesome. Whereas the Freego X2 comes stock with KTET front and rear brakes. Honestly, not terrible brakes. Would highly recommend you go ahead and upgrade the pads on those. Even if they're stock brand new, upgrade the pads, be so much better experience. I do have a Magura MT5E brake on this bike just because of wheelies. I may throw one of those on the Surron, but who knows. The KTET brakes, those do come with mineral oil, so, you know, not as good as DOT, but really good. As far as suspension goes, I do believe both bikes are running a KKE suspension. The Surron one is a little bit prettier, a little bit more robust, but we will step over there in a second. The front forks do have compression adjustment. It does not have a rebound or anything like that, but compression for what you pay for this bike is not bad. You also get adjustments in the rear for rebound and compression, which is always really nice to see on these budget bikes. Over here on the Surron, you get rebound and preload adjustments, which is really nice. A little bit more high end, but you know, and we do have the dual adjustments over here on the rear suspension as well for the Surron, which is really nice. But like again, I was saying, the Surron feels really floaty compared to my Freego. May have to mess around with that. Both bikes do come with horns on them, so that is always a really nice touch for these bikes. One thing I will say out of the factory, Surron comes with their own branded setup controller, which is locked down, and you have no tunability right from the factory, which is kind of lame, because to be able to adjust this bike even a little bit would be kind of nice. But my main man Freego X2 over here, even though it's taken us a while, we've finally gotten into the controller. This uses a standard Fardriver controller setup. Super easy to mod, super easy to swap out. That's going to be a later video, but we do have this bike tuned. We're still working out the tune, but we're still going to do the speed test later on in this video. So yeah, that is a 1 Pro for the Freego X2. You can definitely get in there and adjust your settings as you would like, versus the Surron, where you can't really do that. Okay, so we've kind of gone over the basics of both bikes. I feel like one thing I have yet to address for you guys, the Freego X2 comes in currently right now between $2,400, $2,600 as far as price goes. Definitely not a bad price for what you get in this bike. I've been running this bike for almost a year now, and I mean, you're definitely paying for what you get for in this bike, but this bike will not let you down for under $3,000. My Surron Lite BX over here, this bike cost me around $4,500. You'll probably find them between $4,000 and $5,000, depending on where you get it. I would definitely recommend, if you are going to buy a Surron, don't buy it used, just because it's really not worth the pay differential. This Surron comes 8 kilowatts, really awesome. If you buy one used, you're going to be paying 35, almost $4,000 for less power, and that is not okay. Also, one big con for the Surron, anything you buy for this Surron is going to be expensive. Controller, $1,000. Even new pegs for it, $100, almost $200. Surron is going to cost money, regardless of what you do, how you try to do it. You're spending big bucks on the Surron just to get anywhere with it, versus something like my Freego X2 over here. We can upgrade the controller and motor on this bike for under $800 and get a really nice banging setup. So that is one thing to keep in mind with these budget bikes. Yeah, you're not getting a whole bunch right out of the gate when you spend the money, but if you build these up, man, these bikes are amazing. That's part of the reason why we have a Tuttio on this channel. At least for now, we have a Tuttio. Who knows? I might have to sell the Tuttio to buy more parts for the Surron. But yeah, those are kind of the price comparisons for this bike. So dollar to dollar, I mean, 6,000 watt hub motor, $2,500, 8,000 watt mid-drive motor, you're paying, I don't know, $4,500. So almost $2,000 more on a price tag for not much more power. Stock out the factory, the Freego X2 hits about 48 to 51 miles an hour, depending on weight and size. Surron LBX is going to be capped at 46, 47 out of the factory. Of course, you can mess around with it a little bit smaller sprocket, all those kind of things bump that speed up, but you're definitely lacking in the speed department when you buy a stock Surron, and to get any more speed, you're dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that is one thing to keep in mind with both of these bikes. I think now we're going to do a quick ride on each one of these bikes, do a pro, con, where I'm kind of feeling about these bikes, get you guys a GPS tested speed test, and we'll call it a video. Let's get into the rest. So now we're out and about on the X2. We're gonna go ahead, head to the spot, do the speed run on this bad boy, and then we'll do the Surron one next. But I just want to say, man, it's been a minute since I've been on this bike, and it is kind of, honestly, for what you get, it's kind of a nice bike, to be honest with you. One thing I will say, you definitely sit up higher than the Surron, which, I mean, for the type of riding I've been doing with this bike is honestly kind of nice, not gonna lie. But yeah, it's definitely a higher seated position, but it feels good. One thing I do love is because this is a hub motor, she's silent. She's so silent. Let's take her off road really quick. Just because we might as well. We'll do the same with the Surron. But yeah, one thing I love about this bike over the Surron is it's almost silent. Like, people don't know you're coming until you're there. Oop, we gotta go over. And like, it's, for the most part, it's capable. We're gonna do a little off-road launch here. Well, not launch, but we're gonna ride. And like, off-road, she handles, she nice. Also, she wheelie. I haven't wheelied this bike in a minute, so let's see if we can, let's see if we can even, nope. Yeah, we can still put her back. We can. One thing I will say before we get to the speed test portion, we are still, let's turn around, because I got to start the speed test from over here, because it's a lot easier. But one thing I will say, I do have the bike tuned right now, or I'm working on tuning the bike, so she's not fully perfect, but yeah, she needs some love. But we're sitting at just under a full battery right now. Just under. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, she's a nice bike. One thing I do love, she's silent, she's cheap. I have crashed, looped, thrown this bike so many times, and it has done nothing but eat it every single time. And when like I said before, when it comes to modding, this bike is a beast. One thing I will say, as one of the cons, probably the only con, is this bike doesn't have the utmost amount of torque. Just kind of the fact of the bike, but even with reduced torque, she, ooh, man, I'm not used to these wheeling with these pedals anymore. Losing my touch. Yeah, see, ooh, she good. Yeah, so she throw it good. She throw it nice. Let's pull over, get ready for our speed test. Go. Hopefully my phone doesn't fly out of my pocket. That would really suck. I do have a handlebar mount, but I don't have it on the bike, as you can see. And dude, with this tune, low-key, the X2 kind of picks up. We're definitely not hitting, oh, we might. Ooh. So she definitely take her sweet time to get up to speed, but she get there. Let's go ahead and flip a bitch. Let's hit stop on these results. Okay, so we did not quite hit 50. We hit 0 to 10 in 4.5 seconds, 0 to 20 in 6.64 seconds, 0 to 30 in 9.0 seconds, 0.7 seconds, and 40 in 14.38. I will post these. We're going to do one more launch down this road, and then we're going to move on to the Surron. But yeah, man, this bike, for the money you pay for it, is really awesome. It wheelies, it off-roads, it does all the thing. This bike is just honestly kind of a beast, and people take it for granted, but for what you pay for it, it is awesome. See if we can at least hit 50 this time. Okay, the speedo says we hit 50. Let's stop it, get a screenshot. So I will say the starts are a couple seconds off. On here, we did not clock 50. We clocked a max speed of 48 miles an hour. A little bit slower on the times, but that's partially the stop, me starting and stopping. Just not super good at that with this. But these are the stats. I'll put both of them posted up on the screen, and then we'll have 2 more for the Surron. Yeah. Let's get that put somewhere where I don't lose my phone, because I would cry. Also, I don't know if I said this already, but the Freego does sit a little bit higher than the Surron. And I kind of like it. And then also having the pedals is like a little bit more comfortable than having the dirt bike style pegs. It just feels a little bit more natural because, like, I'm sure all of us have ridden bikes like at some point in our lives. But yeah, Freego X2, freaking awesome. It's super capable. Now let's get to the Surron. Okay, time for Surron speed test. And so that the results are similar, we're gonna start a similar way. Phone in pocket, launch off, see how we can do. In future videos, if you guys like this kind of content, we'll go ahead, mount the phone bar. I just didn't do it, didn't feel like it. I really just wanted to ride my bikes. But also riding my bikes, part of that is making content for you guys. So I can afford to ride my bike. So, and we're gone. We're gonna see what the GPS top speed of the Surron is, because I've actually been kind of curious since I did my upgraded Sprocket. So this will be good. On the speedo, we're smacking it at 49 miles an hour. We've been there. It's not going, oh, we hit 50. Then we hit 51. No, we're not hitting 51 on the Surron. But yeah, Surron, she just with it. Like, that's just what Surron do, bro. Like, not even gonna, yeah. Honestly, I'd be kind of surprised if the results are all that different, to be honest with you. Let's just pull over right here. Maybe not right here, because those people might not be happy about me speeding in front of their house. So, come up the road a tad bit. Also, Surron doesn't need the giant jump like the goddamn Freego does. But also spent a lot more money. And dude, one thing I just like, I knew that my Surron was louder than the Freego because the Freego's quiet, but dang, dude. I forgot how peaceful my rides were just riding on the Freego compared to the Surron, because Surron makes some noise, man. So, results, we are looking at 3.82 second, 5.16, 0 to 20, 0 to 30, 6.5, 0 to 40 is 7.36. So, this is saying GPS tested max speed of only 42 miles an hour, which honestly is kind of believed just because bigger sprocket, a little bit less speed. So we're going to go ahead and do, got to screenshot that. We're going to go ahead, get the second testing for the Surron. And I mean, as far as the pros and cons, we're going to do a whole pro and con video for the Surron. Just know, Freego, it's quiet, it's nice, it's cheap. Surron, you do get that torque in it, but I mean, for a sprocket, just to wheelie better, you're already losing speed and then cost so much more. But yeah, I hope you guys like this kind of comparison. We're going to do the top speed test for the Surron. Maybe go out do some wheelies on the Surron. We'll see what happens. Phone in pocket. Let's go. I mean, that's probably all we need for the Surron, man. But we got to get the speed testing both directions. Can't be biased in here. Let's see what we got, because I'm honestly kind of curious and don't want to wait. So for the Surron, we got 4.39 for the 0 to 10, 5.85 for the 0 to 20, 8 seconds for the 0 to 30, and 13.62 for the 0 to 40. That time only with the max speed of 40 miles an hour. So I'm going to post up the results. That is actually one thing that's kind of interesting, because I really thought the Surron was just going to mop the Freego as far as speed. But honestly, right now, the Freego has a higher top speed than my Surron. Can wheelie, I would say, just about as good as my Surron. So, yeah, I will say this. You guys are going to be mad. It takes a lot more skill to wheelie a Freego X2 than it does a Surron. And all you Surron wheelie boys, you can't actually wheelie without your Surron. Nah, I'm joking. You probably can. But some of you can't. Since having my Surron, I have realized that it's kind of a wheelie cheat code, not even gonna lie, man. Like, she just pop it up for no reason. Just, it's up, up, for no reason. All the time. Old white guy in his van. Leave it to the creepy old white people to ruin the good spots, bro. Yeah. But yeah, man, I love my Surron. I love my Freego. If I only had $2,500, honestly, I would buy another Freego. Instantly, wouldn't even think twice about it. If you don't have the money to throw thousands into your Surron, then I would not advise it. These bikes are expensive. They are awesome, but like, I see a lot of little kids online like begging for Surrons and, oh, I want to have a Surron to be cool, when they don't have money to afford a Surron. And Surrons are amazing bikes if you can afford them. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Like, yeah. So we'll probably end the video there. You guys have a nice day, night, whatever. And also, to those of you guys who watched the video and this far in the video, you guys are the troopers. Yeah, we're gonna mob around in the Surron for a minute, and then, I don't know, do some other stupid stuff. You guys have a nice day, night, whatever, and peace out.